Hi, Diane Evans here with StampinWithDiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator. So if this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, welcome. And make sure that you do subscribe if you've never subscribed before. Hit that bell down below and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. So today's a bit of a science project, but not really. I do Facebook Live in my group every Thursday, and I go through different things that they have in their studios or their craft rooms, and I show them different uses for it in order for different ways to extend their the use of their product. And one of the things that I did last week was REinkers, and of course REinkers are so important when you have your ink pads, especially with these new ink pads, because these new ink pads tend to show or they tend to use an awful lot of ink. So it's really, really important that you do go ahead and re-ink up your REinkers properly. Now, I showed them also how to re-ink their ink pads, but today what I want to do is give you an extended use of the REinkers. So for this demonstration, I'm using this Artistically Inked bundle. Is it not gorgeous? It has these beautiful dies that go with it, and of course these watermark images that go along with it. And I am so in love. I loved it when I saw it, but when you start using it, your love just grows and grows. So what I'm going to do, I do have some wax paper down here. You can use different things. You can use, one thing that I find that's really good is when you get your designer series paper, it comes in paper wrap or a plastic, and those are good too to use as well. So I have my pale papaya. I really like pale papaya and the polished pink. It's actually very, very nice together. So I'm just using, that was pale papaya, and this is the polished pink. And I'm just putting some dots down. And, all right. And then I'm taking my spritzers, and I hope I have enough water in this. And this is just plain water. And all I'm doing is I'm just inking this up a lot. And this is, I guess, called a smooshing technique. I'm not too sure, and I probably should have had my rubber gloves on. So let me just quickly put these rubber gloves. I buy cheap rubber gloves for my crafting because there's certain times that you definitely you're just going to use them once, and then you're just going to turn around and throw them out. So I don't get the really good ones. I just get the ones, they're called my crafting rubber gloves. All right, so I have that. Now, another thing that you have to use for this particular project is we are going to use this Fluid 100 watercolor paper. And I have a piece that is, I think it's 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to go down and I'm going to use this. Now, watercolor paper, it's really important that you have a good watercolor paper. So I'm just going to go down, and this is smooshing. All I'm doing is smooshing that out. Just like so. And let's just take a look. Ooh, isn't that pretty? So then I'm just going to make sure that I've got all my colors or all my paper inked up. And I could have used, I guess, I could go back in, and maybe what I should do is I do have a piece in here. Now watch, I'm going to get that ink all over the place. And I'm actually going to just ink up a tiny bit more of a strip here. And let's just see how that works. It's always good to use up some of this stuff. Not a lot of the papaya in there, but that'll work. All right, so I'm just putting this off. Whoops. I'm just going to put this off to the side and let it dry. And then I'm taking off my gloves because I really, like I say, and then I'm just throwing them out. Ooh, that's not very good, is it, for the world, though, is it? Now, I'm just also getting rid of that. Now, if I wanted to, what I could at that point is I could have done up a lot more of them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm bringing in my cardstock, and I am using Pale Papaya, and I'm doing a portrait Z-fold card. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And then I turned my cardstock and I scored it at 2 1/8. And I'm just going to come in with my bone folder. Now, all these measurements will be on my blog. There'll be a link to my blog below. I also have some polished pink that we're going to put on the inside of this card, and it happens to be at 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So let's just go put that on there. Now, I really wanted a dramatic effect with this, and every card is going to be totally different, right? So I don't want to get that ink all over the place. So just put that off to the side. Now I also went and cut a piece of basic black. And this is 4 by 4, and this is what this is going to layer onto there. But I also have another spare piece of black, and I did cut out this particular die here. But before I cut it out, what I did was I used my adhesive strips, and I put a piece onto the back because it's so much easier to just use the adhesive strips to glue it down. So I'm just going to come in with my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to have to get a bunch of these out, but you know what? I'm probably going to be okay, because once I start taking off the backing, because I've got all that backing, it's probably going to take a bunch of that stuff out as well, but I'm just going to work on some of that. But like I say, it'll probably get an awful lot of that stuff out when I pull off the adhesive backing as well. Actually, it's funny because it starts coming off on there. But I just want to make sure I've got the biggest pieces out of there. And then we'll just carry on. Like I say, I could also turn around and I could speed up that drying on my watercolor paper, which I might be doing in just a second here. But I'm pretty sure that most of this is going to come off when I take the backing off, because you can see the white is starting to come through there. When it has that adhesive on it, it gets quite sticky, so you don't want to there we go. Okay, I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to hope that all that part's going to come off when I go ahead and do this. All right, so I have this piece that's going to be layering for that. So let's just actually bring in our heat tool, and we're going to dry it. Now, there's 2 levels to this heat tool. The first level is for drying, so just make sure that you use the first level. You really don't need to have still pretty wet. Let's just heat it up a little bit more. I'm sorry for the noise that's there. But you want this to be good and dry for when you go to put this adhesive strips on there. Let's just heat it from the back as well, because like I say, I did have a lot of water on there. Just put that off to the side again. And then I'm also have a strip of polished pink. And this, I'm not even sure. I just grabbed this from my my scrap drawer. And I'm just going to come in with my embossing buddy. And I'm going to use the Happy Birthday that's in that particular stamp set. Now, I could use just Memento, but I wanted to make this, because it's quite a vibrant card, I also wanted to make it pretty vibrant, the Happy Birthday. So I'm going to do it with the black, now that we have the black embossing powder. Hoping that that's straight. Yes, so now we have the neutral embossing powders, which come in black, white, and clear. And I'm so glad they brought back black, because black is one of my favorite. I just love how bright it looks and how deep it looks. All right, so that should be pretty good. And I'm just going to come and heat that up. And now, because it is the embossing, I'm going to actually use the higher temperature. I just thought I'd give that extra, a little bit extra to dry. See how much vibrant that is when you use the embossing folder. I mean the embossing powder. So I'm just coming in with my little trimmer and we're just going to trim that off a bit there. And then I'm also have a strip of black. And let's see. I just want a tiny little border. So it's 3 1/4. So I'm going to go 3 5/8 or 3 1/4. I'm going to go 3 3/8. That should be enough. And then I'm just going to go in and just do a tiny bit off of this as well. Let me just hope I've done that right. There we go. Let's see. Whoops, I did it too short, didn't I? But you know what? We're going to make that work because I'm going to go in and I'm just going to cut a bit off on each side. A little bit there and a little bit on this side. There we go. Well, that should work. My original card, I didn't even, there we go. And I'm going to put that, pop that up with dimensionals. I think we'll put one on each side and one in the middle so that it doesn't dip. And let's just take this out of the way and bring in our Take Your Pick tool. Like I say, I'm giving more drying time for that particular piece. There we go. And we can put this right on here. And then we've got that ready to go on our card when we're ready to put it all together. Okay, so that feels pretty dry. So now, like I say, I've got this adhesive on the back. So I'm just going to come, and I'm just hoping that this comes off really good. So when I take this adhesive off, this part here, I'm hoping a lot of these color pieces, see how some of those pieces are now starting to come off? There we go. And we are going to have to pick out some of this stuff here, so not a lot. They do tend to stick to the back because of the adhesive, so oops, there's some white adhesive on there as well. A little picky, but it's well worth it in the long run. Okay, so have we got most of it off? Just in this one part with the leaves. So just go in and just take those little pieces off. They did come out, whoops, they did come out with that adhesive quite a bit. All right. There's a bit of white on here, so we'll just take that off. All right, so we have this like this. So now we just want to go ahead and put this flower onto here. And because of that adhesive, it's just going to go right on there. We don't have to do any extra gluing. Oops. That's okay. We're going to leave it like that. And now I'm just going to apply this on here onto the back. So, you know, because it's a little warped, maybe I could use some glue on the back. So let's go ahead and use some of the multi-purpose glue. Notice I don't go right up to the edge because I'm putting this on right away. Let's just go and put that on too. I've got this all over me. Here we go. There we go. Now, is that not striking? Like it's just so pretty. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decide where do I want to put this? How do I want to put this? So I think I'll put it like this. So now I want to tape onto this side. So I'm going to actually come in with my tear and tape. I think it just needs that extra little bit of strength. And I'm sorry, but this part was off of the thing there, off of the roll. There we go. And we'll just put this and this piece as well. You want to make sure that there's no sticky on this side because it is that Z fold type card, right? So let's go ahead and let's just put this up here. Now there's a very thin border, so we can do that right about like that. And now this happy birthday can also come on here. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to also put it on with the tear and tape. Make sure that it's on the right side. Whoops, it's on the happy side. And on here. I think this is such a striking card. It's just, yeah, it's one of those ones that, there we go, whoops. And this is just going to go on here like so. Right in the middle there. I guess I could have made that a little bit smaller. Now, I think also it'll look really good with this particular ribbon. So this is the glittered organdy ribbon, which I'm so glad they carried that over. So I'm just going to go ahead and just tie a bow. Pull it tight, and let's go ahead and cut that particular one off. And we can put that, we could put it up there, but I am going to put it right there. So I'm going to come in with my glue dot. Just onto the back there. Oops. Now, depending on what you want to put on the inside of the card, you could do that. Now, let's see. I think we could also add some of these black matte dots on there would work well with this as well. So let's go ahead and use that. Take your pick tool, and let's see. I've got some of these all over the place. Let's put one about there, and I just want to pick these out of here, and we can put one down here. And I'm using all the big ones because this is quite a bold type card. I can put one here. Yeah, let's go there. All right, so there's my card there, using this beautiful Artistically Inked bundle. And I hope you like that. If you did like that, give me the thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Also, make sure that, you know, like, subscribe, hit that bell below, and you'll be notified every time that I upload a new video. Also, if you do live in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I have a very generous reward program, and you could basically jump onto my blog, check out the reward program, but I give tutorials to each and every person that puts in an online order or any type of an order with me. So I hope you enjoyed that, and have a great day. Bye for now.